Hey, what's up? It's Blue. I'm coming at you from the void. So this next series is going to be on other games by Cavemanon. That's the team that created Snoot Game. These are all pretty short, so I'll either put them all in one or just make a series of short videos with each one of them. I hope you enjoy. Alright, so this is She Likes You, Alotl. This script contains swearing and other family-unfriendly images. Would you be okay with seeing that? Yeah. Saucy bits activated. I might censor over them anyway, because it's funny, but still. The early morning summer sun shines through the clouds, illuminating the quiet dirt parking lot. As I cut the engine to my small sedan and crack open the door, I take a deep breath of fresh air. I can feel a light, cool wind blowing. Ideal conditions for what's to come. What a perfect start for today. Well, we're here. St. May Trail. The harsh slam of the passenger side door is my sleepy girlfriend's response. I exit the car and turn to Farrelly. Morgan. Yawn. Why are we here at... She checks her overly sized, overly expensive, and overly fragile phone. I glance down at my clothes, all well-worn and perfect parts comfy and airy for this. I'm already calculating how much of my paycheck is going to be spent replacing all of her brand new and unnecessary workout gear. 5 in the morning. If you really want to do the Spartan run. She's already hopped out of the car. I can't help but shake my head, cutting the engine and making my own exit. I've known Farrelly all my life, and yet she still manages to surprise me. Like wanting to do anything physically strenuous. Especially with her meds that cost me my entire enlistment bonus. Thank God for housing allowances, since we've been living together in off-site housing. Of course, if you can do this kind of stuff, then I want to do it too. Farrelly, a Spartan run isn't just a marathon. It's over 3 miles, and at least 15 obstacles are scattered through. I know, come on, I must have read the flyer like a dozen times. And it said 22 of those things. Ugh, damn advertisers. Come on, Morgan. You said you'd help me get ready. And we barely get to spend time together. I know you know, but this kind of thing is really intense. I've only got a few days off this month, and you want to spend them working out? Wouldn't you prefer to do something better? Like that new theme park, or... No. We're always doing normal plain couple stuff when we have time together. This time I want to do something with you. These courses aren't jungle gyms, and there's your medicine to think about. Farrelly pays no mind to that, opening the backseat of the car and pulling out our backpacks for the day. Come on, Morgan. The sooner we start, the sooner we can get home and have a real dinner. Not your bland sandwiches. I catch the bag she tosses my way. They're not bland. And if you're really dead set on this, follow me. I lead Farrelly around to the entrance of the trail. We're probably going to end up stopping midway. I barely made it around my first try. Just something I need to resign myself to. The entrance of the trail is marked with a posted sign with a map of the route. Alright, I'm ready to hit the pavement here. 3 miles is nothing. You usually don't even walk 3 miles in a day. Yeah, but I have walked 3 miles in a day. So, ha! Hoo boy. Okay, let's get started. She pumps a fist in the air and starts jogging down the trail. Wait. She freezes mid-stride and pivots to face me. I start my warm-ups, feeling my muscles warm. I look to Farrelly and I see her trying and failing to mimic me. Wait, Farrelly, slow down there. You want to stretch your leg like this. I demonstrate the stretch to her and watch her carefully to make sure she's doing it right this time. Like this? She strains to stay upright, and I count aloud so she knows when to ease off her leg. It takes a couple of tries for her to understand the warm-ups, but after 10 minutes, I'm ready to go, and she's... already sweating. Alright, let me set the pace. She nods and smiles uneasily. With her approval, I set a sedate jogging pace for her, and head towards the first obstacle. For the first part of the run, I've gotten accustomed to taking the first half of each running segment easy, then setting a moderate pace for the latter half. It also lets me briefly take in the surrounding nature before tunnel vision kicks in. My attention flips every few dozen feet to some minor detail off in the tree line. A small log in a creek with a few frogs on it, some fallen trees splintered into the wind by a lightning strike, deer barely skipping out of sight. Wait, I don't hear Farrelly behind me. I flip back around to see she stopped a good 50 feet back. She can't be done already. Is something wrong? I drop my jogging pace and walk back. She's still hunched over on the side when I reach her. You okay, Farrelly? Yeah, I just need a drink. I nod, taking my worn-out metal canteen and holding it out to her. Here, Farrelly. Gotta keep hydrated. Oh, I'm good, trust me. Farrelly pulls out a furiously pink bottle filled with a slurry of something. Is that soda? I got this super scientific formula at the market. Goddamned adverts. I hope that isn't one of the scammer brands. Although water is water in the end, it's probably fine. Shut up. Speak up. Let's speak up. I think you should stick to water. Why not? Those supplements are more for gym workouts. And they destroy bathrooms. The horrors. Farrelly frowns, but takes the proffered canteen. Fine, but it really smelled good, like a banana strawberry shake. She pops the cap and sips the water. If you want, you could douse your gills too. Are you sure? Seems like a waste of water. I think I can refill my canteen when we get to a good break spot. Okay. She's careful to pour the icy water on her pink gills. A shiver runs over her entire body as the liquid life refreshes her dried-out skin. Ah, that's nice. Here, Morgan. I take the bottle back and smile. You ready to keep going? Yeah, let's go. I start a slow jog again and pick up the pace once I hear her following along. Finally, we come to the first major obstacle. I dart my eyes over to Farrelly's face and see her pink features paling as she takes it in. Before us lies the Jacob's Ladder segment. It's a giant, well, ladder. The rungs are as big as logs, and the whole construction is angled slightly with the ground. I don't know about this, Morgan. This is a lot bigger than it looked on the flyer. It looks intimidating, but trust me, it's not that hard once you get used to it. Here, I'll show you. With a flourish, I step forward. Putting my best foot forward, I begin to scale the ladder. After a few minutes of climbing, I can feel the faint and familiar strain on my arms and legs. I look back over my shoulder to Farrelly and flash a smile. See? Not so hard. I see her smile back, but it looks like she's still unsure. Eventually, I reach the top and look over the edge. There's about a 15-foot drop, cushioned, of course. Taking a breath to ready myself, I hook a leg over the edge and push off. My stomach flip-flops a little on the way down, thanks gravity, and I hit the gymnastics mat after a few seconds. I roll off the soft platform and jog myself over to the side. A familiar Alotl walks straight to where I left her, hands fidgeting nervously. Ready? I call out, catching her attention. Farrelly's eyes snap to me, then the ladder, and then back in under a second. I guess so. She takes a steadying breath of her own and begins to climb up. Her movements are much slower than mine, but that's a given since she doesn't do this sort of thing a lot. Shakily but steadily she climbs, the large rungs beginning to pile below her as she progresses. I begin to call out a chant, trying to cheer her along. A simple repeated, "Let's go, Farrelly, let's go." I swear I can see her suppress a grin. She reaches the midway point, but my smile fades as I see her falter. She pauses, taking in several long breaths. I expect her to keep moving, but she stays there. Morgan? I don't think I can. Come on, Farrelly, you're already halfway there. You're doing such a good job. My gills burn, Morgan. I know, but it's almost over. Just a little further and you don't have to climb anymore. There's a cushion at the bottom for you. I can tell by the look on her face that she's debating her options. I want to encourage Farrelly to push through since she wanted to do this. But I don't want to risk her burning out and having to give up. Try again later, encourage her to continue. What's the nature of this medication she's on? Like, is it asthma? What is it? That's a huge factor that I don't have context for. I'm gonna say try again later. Maybe I'm pushing her too hard. Alright, Fairly, that's good enough. Fairly looks down behind her. I follow her eyes and see the long section of ladder she would need to climb back down. We can take a break, use the mat to relax. Fairly nods and slowly reverses herself backwards down the ladder. At the bottom, she wobbles to the protective mat at the base. I should have realized that she'd essentially be doing twice the work by going backwards, too. Oh no. I picked the wrong option. Let me rewind it. Encourage her to continue. Fairly, I know it's hard and you're tired, but there's still a lot left. You need to push through. I know you can do it. Trust in the me that trusts in you. Or something. I forgot how that line went. We can take a breather after you're done. After a few tense seconds, Fairly resigns herself to her fate. Taking a deep breath and taking a face of determination, she begins to climb again. I keep chanting, doing my best to encourage her. It hurts to know she's struggling, but we'll never get through this course by taking it easy. She finally reaches the top, and her apprehensive grimace tells me she's taking in the change in view. I look up and wave to her. She sees me and returns the favor with a smile. She jumps off, though with less grace than the norm. I react quickly as her angle is off, falling towards me. My arms threaten to come out of their sockets as she lands on them. Daw. Luckily, I still stand upright. Weary they may be, my arms have yet to fail me. My self-congratulation is cut short by the sudden sound of giggling. I look down at Fairly, still in my embrace. You can let me down now. I'm careful to set her back on her feet. Thanks for being my coach here. Quite a workout, isn't it? Whew, yeah. I can't believe I climbed that thing. See? You just needed to push yourself. And next time, it'll be even easier. Oh man, let's just focus on finishing today. I'm gonna be so lazy tomorrow to make up for this. We can make it a lazy day. Yeah, make a giant bowl of popcorn and watch the entire Sundown series. It's gonna be great. I smile and nod before lying back on my hands again. After a while, Fairly gets back up and dusts her pants off. You ready to keep going? Her mouth curls into an amused smile, gaze fixed onto the forest. Did she notice something? I don't see anything. Ready? Shh! Look. I follow her finger over to... Is that the log we saw earlier? How did it follow us? The log blinks at our presence. Oh! The gator over there's got some friends. I almost think it just doesn't notice the frogs when one of them flicks its tongue at his eye, getting an amused stare in return. Huh, got a camera on you? You know it. She already has her phone out, recording the whole thing. I watched the scene myself for a few moments longer. Alright, we should continue. Aw, but that gator's cute. Come on, Fairly. I want to hug that gator. If we want to get out of here by evening, we aren't going to have much time to sightsee. And we definitely won't be safe until after nightfall. Aw, yeah, let's keep going. I start a slow jog again and pick up the pace once I hear her following along. Instead of an answer, she cocks her head and flashes me a smile. With her pose struck, I'm granted a thumbs up. A few sips of water later, we begin back on the course. We pass by more small details, but nothing as interesting as the frogs. After several more obstacles and lots of coaxing and encouragement, we reach the end. Or rather, the final trial before the home stretch. The smile fades from Fairly's face as she takes in the sight before her. Between us and sweet, sweet freedom lies the mud pit. A long stretch of mud and dirt with posts and wire overhead, forcing one to crawl on their belly. I turn back to Fairly, a grimace creeping across her features. Morgan, can we just... not? Out of all the obstacles today, you want to quit because of some mud? This is nothing. Before the words even finish coming out of my mouth, I already know It's the mud, it's my neck, it's my gills, it's everything. I'm exhausted, Morgan. Can't we just skip this last one? I thought you said you read the flyer. Keep going? That's good enough. That's good enough. No, keep going. Fairly, I believe in you. You've been doing great all day. Look, you can see the end just over there. I could almost swear I see the beginning of tears. Just a little further, come on. Think of it like a mud bath from that spa you said you always wanted to try. She still doesn't look convinced. We can go out for ice cream? It's almost comical how she perks up at the mention of a treat. Although she's quite hesitant, she eventually lowers herself into the grime and gunk. Side by side, we slowly make our way through the pit. Suddenly, an idea hits me. I dip my finger in the mud, and when she isn't looking, poke her face. I'm glad that my ears don't bleed from the banshee shriek that she unleashes right next to my head. As I laugh, her hurt expression turns into an impish one. I am repaid with a handful of moist clay smooshed onto the side of my head. Halfway through the pit, Fairley's demeanor has changed completely. Groans have been replaced with laughter, and the air is filled with flying flecks of dirt. Eventually, our impromptu play fight ends, although the girl next to me has left happier than when she entered. That wasn't so bad, was it? No, it was even worse. I could see the hint of a smile curl at the corners of her lips. You owe me a new workout shirt, Morgan. Striding over, I take Fairley by surprise and lift her over my shoulder. Wah! You look tired, so let me carry you back. Morgan, consider it a reward for making it through the whole course. Sack of potatoes securely held, although lightfully hitting my back with balled fists, I make the trip back to the car. After a few minutes, the hitting and the mock protestations stop. I can feel the gentle rise and fall of her chest on my arm. She must be tired after today. The evening wind feels nice, cooling the sweat on my shirt and skin. The yellow sun sits lazily in its orange and purple cradle in the sky. How picturesque. I hope that Fairley is still awake to see it. I can hear her mumble against my shirt. I'm glad that it's over. I don't think I want to do this anymore. Unfortunately, we've got to do this a lot more if we're going to be ready for the real deal. Her muffled groan of despair, funnily enough, is quite cute. Don't worry, now's the time for relaxing. A nice shower, a nice dinner. I can hear her murmur in approval. After a few minutes, the only sign she's alive is her slight breathing. Out like a light. I come up to the car and open the door with my free hand. Ever so gently, I set the sleeping Alotl down into the passenger seat. I click the seatbelt into place and quietly shut the door before returning to my own seat. The car rumbles to life, and after a minute, I reverse out of the parking lot and back home. The sky looks so beautiful on the way out. On the way home, I stop by the ice cream place as promised. Fairly's still dead tired, so we just go through the drive-thru. I just get a regular chocolate shake since I need to keep driving, and Fairly... What's that again? It's a double chocolate chip cookie dough Supremo with sprinkles and cookie bits. So much for the workout part of this. Oh, hush. She takes an onion ring from her bag and uses it as a spoon for the ice cream. So much for the workout part of next time as well. She flicks a sprinkle at me. A few miles down the road, I turned down the radio. So what'd you make of the whole thing? Definitely tiring. I'm gonna crash the split second we get home. But it was fun. She curls an arm around my bicep. Helps that I had such a good coach. I drive with one hand so I can briefly return Fairley's embrace. When we arrive home, we drag ourselves inside and rest a bit longer on the couch. Fairley took a shower first, and true to her word, she crashed in her bed before I even entered the bathroom to take mine. After getting myself dried, I collapsed into bed as well. I probably lost consciousness before I even landed on my mattress. This is it. The day of the Spartan run. I move the shifter to park, having made sure that my metal steed is correctly positioned in the space. Alright, let's do this. I'm not so sure. I can see the apprehension on her face. Don't worry, we've trained every weekend for this. We even managed to slip in some of it during the week. You've just got pre-game jitters. Happens to the best of us. I hand Fairley her water bottle, and she takes a few gulps as though to psych herself up. Okay, let's do this. We get out of the car and make our way to check-in. I watch as Fairley eyes all the other participants, a lot of them couples casually talking and stretching. As soon as we're signed in, Fairley moves for the starting area, already going through our warm-ups. 27, 28, 29... Shit, just like her, I should focus on my own warm-ups. I twist, contort, untwist, and stretch, feeling my muscles loosen and warm up. Ready? I finish my stretches with a nod. Just about. There's a call from a megahorn, and with it everyone gathered on the starting line sprints off. Fairley makes a move to follow, but I put my hand on her shoulder. These guys are gonna burn themselves out. Oh, right. We start in the middle of the pack, taking a far more manageable jog. In the corner of my eye, I watch Fairly's mental switch flick. Arms pumping, gills bobbing, and legs pushing, Fairly's found her perfect rhythm. I can't help the smile creeping across my lips as she's entirely focused on the course. The first obstacle, the Jacob's Ladder, is practically an afterthought for us. I scaled the wooden rungs with ease, finding that my own training with Fairly has made this even easier. At the top, I think to stop and wait for her, only she surprises me by being just a few rungs below. She giggles when she gets to me, straddling the last rung and waits. You took your time. Oh, hush. She gives me a half-hearted shove, and my arms flail to keep me balanced on the log. Want to jump together? She grins and offers me her hand. I count down from 3, and... I can't contain my laugh as I yank Fairly with me on 2, her shriek morphing into laughs as we hit the cushion together. Morgan! The other participants are laughing now too, and I shrug apologetically. Sorry. No, you aren't. I wasn't. But the mood was still good, so I'll definitely be forgiven. No time to waste, let's go. I help Fairly to her feet, and we continue down the course, through the other obstacles with varying degrees of ease and stress. Things like the hoist or the tire flip are made easy because of the smaller and lighter equipment. Weird trivia, obstacles like the memory wall are made worse for me because of the extra workout punishment. Time seems to fly as Fairly and I get through the race until we reach the final obstacle. Without thinking, Fairly is already on her belly, army crawling underneath the fake barbed wire. She's practically swimming through the mud. I'm right behind her, totally not taking advantage of the view and obscuring it for others. Oh no! Amphibian booty! Not at all. She slips out from under the wires in record time, cheering while still covered in viscous mud. Actual record time, because one of the organizers is handing her something small. As I finally climb up from the mud pit, she hugs me. Whoa. I beat the record mud pit time! Woohoo! I smile, even as she covers me with far more mud than even I would mind. Well, she's an amphibian, so that makes sense. Once she's done cheering and catching our breaths, we continue. Fairly's pace starts to waver, the taxing workout throughout reality hitting her now. Almost there, just a bit more. My words seem to invigorate Fairly, her gills billowing more and her eyes dead set on the finish line in the distance. Almost there, a few more steps, almost there. It becomes a mantra to herself. Her words come faster and faster as we finally near the line. In the last 20 feet, she suddenly zooms past me towards the goal. I chase after, hearing her laugh as she finally crosses the line. Yeah, she did it. Yes! Fairly pants, her hands on her knees as she fights for control of her breath. I did it! I nod and take a water bottle from an organizer nearby, popping the cap off. The cool water feels good as I pour it on my head. Me too, me too. I unend the rest of the bottle over my exhausted girlfriend, something between a surprised squeal and a relaxed coo coming out of her mouth. I finally feel my breathing evening out when another event organizer swings by us, handing out simple-looking coins to everyone. They smile as I'm handed 2 of the little silver participation medals. Here, Fairly. She smiles, flashing her own second medal for breaking an obstacle record. I have 2 medals. That means I win. Hey, I didn't know we were competing against each other. So what does the winner want? Well... She grimaces as she tries to stand upright. I look as her legs warble fiercely. I wouldn't say no to some help to the car. Fairly's legs being completely numb at this point, I pick her up and swing her atop my shoulder. It's quickly spending the last of my own energy, but it's worth it. I march celebratorily back to the parking lot and to our car. Fairly holds up the little pin triumphantly over her head, showing it off to the imaginary crowd. View up there good? The breeze feels great, too. I'm surprised you still have energy after all that. Probably the last of my adrenaline. We should stop for coffee on the way home. Oh, I want to order something, too. Would you like to play again? Yeah, let's see what happens if you make the bad decisions. Skip. Okay, so, shut up. I watch her slowly drink the pink sludge. see her eyes water as she forces the disgusting sweetened slurry down. Fairly's lips pop and she turns a very unconvincing smile towards me. Delicious. Maybe I'll have some too. Sure. In fact, let's trade. You can have the rest of this. Ah, fuck. I fake sip from the clear bottle and nod to Fairly. After placing the bottle of sugary preservatives and my empty canteen, we continue on. Good thing there's a fill-up station a while down the path. You ready to keep going? Yeah, let's go. I start a slow jog again and pick up the pace once I hear her following along. Finally, we come to the first major obstacle. Encourage her to try again later. Maybe I'm pushing her too hard. Alright, Fairly, that's good enough. Fairly looks down behind her. I follow her eyes and see the long section of ladder she would need to climb back down. We can take a break. Use the mat to relax. Fairly nods and slowly reverses herself backwards down the ladder. At the bottom, she wobbles to the protective mat at the base. I should have realized she'd essentially be doing twice the work by going backwards, too. I walk over and can see the familiar results of strenuous exercise. A heaving chest, ragged breath. I just sit a while. Take all the time you need. I sit down next to her on the mat. The silence is interrupted by a breathless giggle from Fairly. I'm tired, but that was fun. I sit up and look back at her. The oscillating of her gills is starting to slow down as she catches her breath. You good to go? I get a simple nod from her before she gets up. You ready to keep going? Her mouth curls into an amused smile, gaze fixed into the forest. Did she notice something? I don't see anything. Skip. That's good enough. I sigh. On the inside, I was hoping she'd keep at it. I guess I expected too much from someone who doesn't do this as often as I do. Fighting back my disappointment, I concede. Alright, I guess this is enough for this session. The thankful smile tells me I must have made the right choice. Let's head back to the car, and Fairly gives me the one look I always dread. Carry me. Come on, it's not that far, Fairly. Plus, it feels like we haven't really done enough. I hardly feel exhausted. But my legs hurt. I roll my eyes, but still stick my arms out, and she hops into place. Carrying her lazily fireman style, I walk around the large mud pit. She wears an impish grin in my arms. You know we're going to be doing this every week if you want to get ready for this thing. The twitch of her gills against my back tells of her hesitancy of even more training. But we don't need to do the mud thing, right? Right? I'm going to need to check that pamphlet. Maybe. It depends on what you actually signed us up for. I consider how Fairly really did on all the obstacles today. Not great, but not terrible for a first-timer anyway. But will she be ready in time? As we reach the car, I set Fairly down. She groans as she sluggishly drags herself into the passenger seat. Maybe next week I'll take it easier on her. I take my spot in the driver's seat and start the old beater of a car up. As I maneuver my car out of the parking lot, I notice the rumbling snore next to me. Yeah, I should definitely be lighter on her next week. I take Fairly home, pulling into the driveway. She wakes up long enough to get to the couch, but crashes again upon laying down. Leaving her be, I took a quick shower and went to bed by myself. I drift off to sleep, thinking about what all transpired today. If all of our training sessions will be like this one, I can't see us being ready for the run. I wake up groggily, silencing the alarm on my phone. Sun rays spill through the windows and into the room. Did I oversleep and trigger a backup alarm? I slip on my normal clothes and head towards the kitchen. Fairly is leaning over against the counter, a cup of coffee in her hand. It doesn't look like she's in her normal good mood. Good morning, Fairly. Hey. Feeling all right? Still beat from yesterday. It'd be easier to count the muscles that don't ache. She accentuates the complaint by pressing her hands against her back. She lets out a half-hearted laugh. I feel inclined to smile at her joke, but something feels off. I search for something to say. It's still a real good start. You did pretty well for not having done that sort of thing regularly. I'm sure in no time we'll have everything squared away, and the actual run won't be that bad by the time we get to it. Her gills flick out of the corner of my eye. That's never a good sign. about that. Uh-oh. I really don't think I'm cut out for this hard exercise thing. Oh? I'm gonna drop from the Spartan run. Oh. You sure? I don't think you should give up so easily. I'm sure. But didn't you already pay the fee? It's like $90, isn't it? I know, I can barely see her hand grip tighter around the mug she's holding. You seemed really interested in this. I just don't want to see you make any rash decisions. Exercise like that is pretty hard at first, but all it takes is practice, I promise. Come on, give it another shot. Have some perseverance. Morgan, I said no. She whirls around at me, a fist slamming against the counter punctuates her words. Her shout echoes through the small room. Whatever I was going to say shriveled up and died before I could say it. I'm sorry, I tried to relate to your weird workout routines. Just leave me alone already. The two of us stare at one another in silence. It's quiet for what feels like an eternity, looking into Fairley's loving eyes, now burning with anger. After the forever of silence, she deflates a bit. Her eyes settle to the floor, dejectedly. Look, She sighs, screwing her eyes shut. Just leave me alone for a while, please. I'm going back to bed. She returns to her room in a huff, leaving me all alone in the tiny off-site house. I shift awkwardly, unsure of what the appropriate action to do is. I prepare a pot of coffee for myself. As I pour the black bitterness into my cup, I mentally replay what we said to one another. My face burns as I think of what all I said to her. I stir the coffee, bringing it to my lips, and imagine the what-ifs I had said something different. Maybe if I said this or that, she'd still be up. Maybe we'd be laughing right now. I end up spending my last full day off for another several months, reading to myself and watching television. But no matter what I tried to watch, the couch under my body felt uncomfortable. The water I drank tasted foul, and the food I eat sits in my stomach like a stone. Worst of all, I feel pangs of guilt every time I look over to her door, hoping it to be open. But seeing it still locked shut. Maybe she doesn't actually like me, Alotl. Fuck off! You had me taking this shit seriously. You hit me with maybe she doesn't actually like me, Alotl. Would you like to play again? I do not. I think there's no neutral route. I think we saw both of the routes. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. See you next time.